So here's where you're going to yell at me.
Are you going to take Cam Reddish at 4? Seriously?
I'm not taking Cam Reddish at 4. I'm like trying to decide between RJ Barrett and DeAndre Hunter at 4 still.
Really?
I am, because I think RJ has been good enough on defense to where there's still like a ceiling there if the jumper ever gets figured out. DeAndre, if DeAndre hadn't missed as much time as he had, I wouldn't be thinking about it. Like, I would take DeAndre Hunter. But DeAndre Hunter has played 97 games in 3 years so far, or 2.5 years so far.
Yeah.
That's hard for me. And then, by the way, this year he was not good, like in the 11 games he played.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so I mean, RJ had some good games at the start of the year and has had 1 or 2 lately, but he's been
not good.
I heard about my opinion of RJ, like not having him in the player tiers this summer. I have not heard much about that recently, put it that way.
Yeah, look, I mean, he shot 17. He went 17, 6, and 3 on 40% from 3 and 44% from the field last year. He played pretty strong defense, as a 21-year-old or a 20-year-old, whatever he was last year. That's really strong. This year, it's not been as good because the shooting has regressed. Now, the question is he going to be one of those guys that starts his season shooting poorly and then pushes up throughout the course of the year? Because some guys are like that, the number kind of pushes up, because we've seen that in both of his first 2 years so far, if I remember correctly. He's gone from shooting 32 in his first 30 games last year and then ended up at 40. The rookie year, I think he was shooting super low and then ended up, right around 32, 33, something like that as a rookie. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing that worries me about RJ is the lack of shiftiness in comparison. I thought that he might be able to add some different stuff, but at the end of the day, he needs to shoot. He needs the threat of the jumper in order to make his attack-oriented profile work. Because if the jumper isn't there, he's not shifty enough to go right to left, left to right, hesitation, step back, bam, right? Everything he does in terms of shiftiness is after he picks up the ball, right, and is Euro stepping and getting to the basket.
And also, he's not a good enough finisher against a contest to play that kind of big boy role, get a guy on your shoulder and kind of the thing that we are anticipating Cade being able to do as he gets stronger. He's already showing signs of that. But it's sort of the
Cade's much longer as well. It really helps. Cade has a 7-foot wingspan. Yeah. RJ has a 6'8" wingspan, something like that.
But I mean, with his build and size, he is someone who you would think would be able to physical his way to decent finishing, and that's something that has not really come along either.
So it's it's the touch through contact that he doesn't have. It seems like. Again, though, do I really RJ Barrett has been a fucking workhorse though, throughout the course of his career so far. He doesn't really miss games. He's tough. His body takes the wear and tear. He's much younger than DeAndre Hunter. I don't know.
How sad is it for this draft that we're at 4 and we're hey, he's an innings eater?
See, this is what I said though. From the jump, I was I got to 4 and I was I don't know. Do you bet on Matisse Thybulle figuring out how to shoot? This is the first spot where I really considered Matisse Thybulle. I also considered Tyler Hero here. But do we trust Tyler Hero to hold up defensively in the playoffs? I don't know. I guess he held up enough for them to get to the finals. As a rookie, right?
Do we also trust him as a consistent tough shot maker? To for a guy who doesn't get to the basket, does not get easy points. That's sort of a tough profile. If you can do that and be efficient, it's really good. It's really hard. And it takes a lot of it's a player type I'm skeptical of because it's like when it's working, it looks great. Everyone thinks it's awesome. And then you look at the numbers and this year he's making every shot. So it looks great, but it's like, sort of the height of this is like Donovan Mitchell, who like seems like he shot the crap out of the ball this year. And this is his first year where he's above league average efficiency, and it's only barely. So it's like, it's that's the diet you're trying to live on. That's a it's a tough diet. But
it really is. Did you consider Keldon Johnson here? Like he was my last guy that like I really kind of flew into this.
I'll be honest, I don't totally get it with Keldon Johnson. So no, I didn't consider him there. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of what you said about RJ, like, so his best stuff is sort of that dependability kind of thing, and like. Ideally, I'd be looking for more at this point in the draft, but there just might not be unless you're willing to get wild and like, no, like, Daniel Gafford is going to be Clint Capella, which, is kind of why I threw the name out there. It's
honestly like he might be Clint Capella, and I still would take RJ Barrett over him.
All right.
Like I think that's like the philosophical difference between you and I for sure. Is like I would just rather have the wing and like pray that the wing learns to shoot. You know what I mean?
I in general, I would too. I'm just like, okay, who is it?
So here, let's ask this question, and then we'll move on, and we'll kind of buzz through this group of players because we've kind of talked about them enough at this point. If you trusted RJ Barrett to be a 38% 3-point shooter by the time he's 24 years old, let's say, would he be the obvious pick?
Because it depends. It's not just like you're also like what kind of is he like an 18 to 22 usage guy, or is he a guy who can be, league average efficiency, 38% 3-point shooter, and otherwise like fine at like a 25 usage and have some playmaking. Like, is he just a guy who is like a big defensive body and can stick an open jumper? Like, it's fine. But that's like on a championship team. Is that maybe a fifth starter, but more likely a seventh guy? Like where do you draft Pat Connaughton?
So if he's shooting 38 from 3, right, with everything else he can do in terms of like he can attack closeouts, he can get to the rim. Like we have to hope that like the contact balance and touch through contact, like maybe that is just not something he has, right? Like he just might not have it. But maybe that can improve.
Yeah. But I think that's that. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
But like, if those two things improve, like I think that he can be like maybe like a third best player on a conference finalist team, right? Like something like that, right? Like at that point, he'd be like a 20 point per game, 38% from 3, maybe 44, 45% from the field, maybe 45% from the field, let's say. Plus defender on the way. So, and that's like a good third best player on like a good team.
So right? I mean, it's like you're like what you're sort of describing the Jeremy Grant we got last year. And I guess like and I think that's like if that's what you're projecting, you take him there. Like I think, no. So I mean, if you put it that way, then that makes sense. It's just those question marks are sizable.
Real. Yeah, they're real. I agree. I'm still willing to bet on him because like he's just a like crazy worker on some level. Like he's really good, like cares about basketball, like has a great attitude about it. But like, like I would say RJ Barrett at 4 for me.